Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The Rangers have won 6 straight. They beat the Montreal Canadiens 7-4 at Madison Square Garden. Chris Kreider gets a hat trick. So it's the 6th hat trick of his career. Rangers had a pretty sleepy first period. Didn't generate a whole lot, but came to life in the second, scoring 4 goals and eventually put up a 7th spot. Not great goaltending on either side. Jonathan Quick gave up some goals that weren't the best, although defensively their team wasn't really great in front of him. And then Sam Montembeault, who was really good against the Rangers back in January, he also wasn't so good either. So not a game that either coach Peter Laviolette or Marty St. Louis will be happy about, but the Rangers do get the 2 points. They have won 6 in a row, and this will lead into the Stadium Series game at MetLife Stadium versus the New York Islanders, which we'll talk about after we discuss this Montreal game. On a downer, Blake Wheeler suffers a very ugly injury in the first period. It was a lower body injury. He couldn't put any pressure on his right leg, could put no weight on it. And it was a very clean hit by the Montreal defenseman Struble. And unfortunately, just Wheeler, when he went down, just kind of was in an awkward position, and his right, it looked like his right ankle just kind of buckled. And you feel bad for Blake Wheeler. Look, it hasn't been a great run this year with the Rangers, but considering the lack of depth that the Rangers have at right wing and whatnot, chances are was that Wheeler was, as long as Wheeler stayed healthy, he was going to stay on the roster in all likelihood through the playoffs. Now, make that of it as you will, but that's not the point right here. This is someone that has never won a Stanley Cup, and has had a really good career. Seems like a really good guy. And look, you never know, but that looked for sure like that's a season ender. And to me, it could be a career ender because I'm not sure how much left he even had in the tank to begin with. Wheeler is now 37 years old. He'll be 38 next season. You never know, but gosh, that was sad to see. And you could kind of see his reaction when they took him off the ice. And yeah, you can't feel good about that at all. And, hoping Wheeler, hopefully, it's not as bad as it looked, but don't be surprised if it comes out, here shortly that it is a season-ending injury, because that's certainly the way it looked. Now, look, you think back to when Kakko got hurt a few months ago, and that did have the looks of something that could be really severely serious, but I don't know. Just my gut tells me that we might have seen the last of Blake Wheeler. So, that was definitely ugly. But before that, Rangers, first period wasn't great. I was a little concerned about this game, considering the fact that, Rangers have been winning games lately, and now you're facing an opponent that is not so great. What I didn't mind was the fact that Montreal was coming off of a 5-0 win. So my attitude is always, I'd rather play the team coming off that 5-0 win than the 5-0 loss. It's just the way that it goes. So luckily, the Rangers did not play their best game, but they still won. And so the concern for me there is, if you remember early in the season, bad habits started to form at the tail end of winning streaks and just general winning. So could this lead to a bit of regression? Potentially. The thing is that with this outdoor game, you kind of throw everything aside. Like, what has happened doesn't really matter that much because it's kind of a unique situation. But on other roster news, Tyler Pitlick, and I had said this last episode, I think it was last episode, that I wasn't sure what his future with the Rangers was going to be. Sure enough, he's waived. He cleared waivers. He will go down to Hartford. It won't be like a Nick Bonino situation. I'm almost certain Pitlick will go down to Hartford. And look, could he get called back up? It's possible. It is. Alex Belzile, who's actually a former Montreal Canadian, he didn't dress, but he was called up. And he was the 13th forward. But now that Wheeler is hurt, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Does Belzile which, does he just step into the lineup, which is pretty random when you think about it. Like his first game as a Ranger could be in the Stadium Series, which is just odd, but it may not be him, right? There's been a ton of players that, Matt Rempe had been up a little bit and didn't play. I don't think it'll be Tyler Pitlick at this point, but again, like just with when the options diminish, you just never know. So I think I think they'd be open to the idea of Pitlick, but maybe they'll just give it a little bit of time. But there's options, some less exciting than others, right? Like Jake Lecision, not exciting. Brennan Othman, that's a little more exciting. So we'll see what they do, but they're going to have to, and trades are going to happen for sure. And right wing is an absolute need. It just is, right? Think about what's over there. Now that Blake Wheeler's hurt, like there's not much. I'm not even going to name names. It's thinned out. And really, more of the right wings that are there right now are original left wings that have just transitioned over there out of necessity. So, yeah, the forward group is thin depth-wise for sure. I mean, the core group is there, minus Hedl. And even Hedl like isn't really, he's a little bit on the outskirts of the core, but obviously he's a big missing piece, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. But yeah, we'll see what happens, but I would expect some roster moves to come in the next few days. So Jonathan Quick was in net for the Rangers. I was not sure if that was going to happen because Igor was coming off the shutout, but I also knew that Igor was definitely going to play in that Sunday game at MetLife Stadium. So what ended up happening was, because they didn't want Quick, they didn't say this, but this has got to be the reason, they didn't want Quick to sit out for too long. And that's what would have happened. If he didn't play this game, then it would have been a couple of weeks, I think, since he played. And they wanted to avoid that. So, I don't have an issue with that. But first period, Jaden Struble high sticks Mika Zibanejad, but the Ranger power play did not look good. They would score a power play goal tonight, so maybe that can get them going, but they did go 1 for 4. Step in the right direction, but it wasn't all good. The Canadiens kill that off, and then at 14:29, Jake Evans scores his 4th goal of the season from Anderson and Pearson. So, not great defense here. This is post-Wheeler injury as well. So was the team maybe a little shell-shocked from seeing what they saw? Maybe. That could also be an excuse. But Montreal takes a 1-0 lead there. And then second period was a different team. Rangers were much better than second, but it took them some time to get on the board. But they finally do it 11:09. It's a goal by Chris Kreider, the first of his 3 goals on the night. His 25th goal of the season from Zibanejad and Trouba. So Kreider, just before that, had a chance on a breakaway, but Montembeault stopped it. And then this one really, I don't know. It was a quick release by Kreider on a pass from Zibanejad. And, I guess it kind of caught Montembeault off guard. Not a great goal by him, but for the Rangers, they'll take it. They tied up at 1. I should also say there was a little bit of line juggling with the Wheeler injury, but what ended up happening, I believe, for the most part, was Jimmy Vesey moved up to that spot, which is really your best option if you're looking to keep the Trocheck and Brodzinski's lines intact. Vesey would be the guy to move up. Now, it's one of those things where that's, as much as I think Jimmy Vesey's been good this season, it's not an ideal situation for him to be there, but based on what you're working with, it's absolutely the right thing to do, for sure. And they've played together before, even dating back to Vesey's first stint with the Rangers. So that makes it 1-0. That ties the game up at 1. Then at 12:27, Will Cooley scores again. So Cooley, who scored last game, he scores his 10th goal of the season from Lindgren and Fox. And Cooley, you like that he is not afraid to go to the net. Found positioning, puts his stick down, Lindgren with a nice pass to find him, and an easy tap-in goal for Will Cooley. So that line continues to generate offense. Rangers take a 2-1 lead at that point. Then the Rangers take a penalty at 12:56. Vincent Trocheck is called for high sticking Mike Matheson. Rangers would kill that off. There was a delay of game penalty. There was a delayed call. And the Rangers technically score a sure-handed goal. It's a goal by Zibanejad, his 17th goal of the season from Fox and Panarin. So really it was 5-on-5. I mean, it's funny. It was actually really 5-on-5 if you think about it, because the Rangers got the the extra skater on the ice, but, it goes down as short end of goal. And Zibanejad with a nice slap shot. You got to see that more from Mika. Mika, when he's more in shoot mode, it works out a lot better. And tonight, he looked, as the game went on, him and Kreider had some nice chemistry. And so Zibanejad makes it 3-1. And the Canadiens challenged for goal interference, which was not a good one. So that's an unsuccessful challenge. So now the Rangers get a power play, and they score on it. And it's Chris Kreider, who was the one that I think St. Louis was maybe arguing was involved in potential goal interference, but it wasn't. Kreider scores his second goal of the season, tip-in goal, assisted by Panarin and Fox. So it's now 4-1 Rangers. And then at 16:30, Montreal scores. Slafkovsky scores his 12th of the season from Caulfield. So not a great goal by Quick here. Makes it 4-2. And that was kind of a sign of things to come in the third, where both teams scored goals. In the second, to make matters worse, Jonathan Quick is called for tripping Nick Suzuki at 17:52, but the Rangers penalty does a nice job. Before it ends, Tanner Pearson interferes with Adam Fox. So we go to the third period with the Rangers on a power play. That would end. So the Rangers are still up 4-2 at this point. And then at 4:23, it's a goal by Vincent Trocheck, his 16th goal of the season from Panarin and Schneider. So that gives Panarin 3 assists on the night. And for Trocheck, takes a shot. I think it deflects off of the defenseman Savard. Lafreniere was in the mix there, but it didn't touch him. Rangers make it 5-2. Then Brodzinski is called for delay of game at 5:15, and Montreal does score a power play goal. Caulfield scores his 18th goal of the season from Matheson and Suzuki. Cuts the score to 5-3. But then at 7:59, just a beautiful play from Zibanejad to Kreider. And Kreider gets the hat-trick goal. His 27th goal of the season from Zibanejad and VZ, who is now on that line for the time being. And that makes it 6-3. Hats are on the ice. It's Kreider's 6th career hat-trick. And look, it's going to be, if he stays healthy, another really good goal total. You're looking at Kreider. I hate to project these things, but, him scoring 35 goals is definitely within the realm of possibility. So that makes it 6-3. And then less than 2 minutes later, Kakko scores his 6th goal of the season from Fox and Cooley. So another goal for that third line, and Fox with 4 assists on the night. So that is no small feat. Adam Fox is finding his game. Slowly but surely it's happening. It's not perfect, but, that wizardry that we're accustomed to is there more so now. But a really nice play by Kakko, going to the net. I know at this point it's the third period, it's 6-3, but still, you can't take that away from him. And Kakko has been better. It's you have to just reassess and recheck your expectations, because look, the fact is he was a number 2 overall pick, but that's not going to be what it amounts to, and even really anywhere close. But it doesn't mean he's not a positive contributor to a hockey team. And he is. He really is. And he is a very good third line player and made a nice move there. And hopefully we can see more like that. So that makes it 7-3. Then at 11:27, Caulfield scores again. His 19th goal of the season from Slafkovsky and Goulet. So that makes it 7-4. There were some penalties to round it out. At 14:08, Montreal takes a hooking penalty, but then Adam Fox is called for slashing 11 seconds later, so it's 4-4, no scoring there. And then Lafreniere is called for high sticking at 16:57. Rangers kill that off, and the Rangers win at 7-4. So, Kreider with the hat trick, Fox with 4 assists. Zibanejad, I thought, was pretty good on the night with a goal and 2 assists. And yeah, we've seen the Rangers at times earlier, play games like this. I think it's preferable for like I've said, low scoring, but in a game against Montreal, you can kind of get away with this, but you just, you can't let the bad habits persist. So we'll now see what happens, Rangers Islanders. This is the first time the Rangers have played the Islanders in a while in general. I was actually at the last Ranger Islander game, which was December of 2022. So it has been a while. It's been, over a year since these two teams have played, and they played each other 4 times. So not only is this the first of, not only is this an outdoor game, but this is the first of 4 games with the Islanders for the rest of the way. And, it's Patrick Roy as the head coach of the Islanders for the first time in this Ranger-Islander rivalry. So, yeah, that could be interesting. The Islanders are really fighting for their playoff lives. I mean, they are going to be very desperate, and, they play well versus Rangers, typically speaking. in their one previous outdoor meeting, the Rangers beat the Islanders at Yankee Stadium. The Rangers are 4-0 in these outdoor games. They beat the Flyers in 2012 in the Winter Classic. In the Stadium Series versus the Islanders, Devils and Islanders, they won both of those games. And then Winter Classic at Citi Field, they beat the Sabres. And that was the last time they played an outdoor game. So it's been a while. But I'm excited for this. The Flyers are playing the Devils the night before. So it's, sort of a little bit of a local flavor for this game. And it'll be the first time that the Rangers in these games will be playing at a football stadium, because the one against the Flyers, if memory serves me correct, was at the Phillies stadium. So definitely a larger, bigger crowd. So we'll see what comes of that. Should be exciting. Rangers are on a 16 winning streak. We'll see if it continues, right? Like, you kind of throw everything away, like in these outdoor games, and it's kind of, in some ways, a one-off. Momentum can kind of come and go from it, but still, like Shesterkin versus Sorokin will be interesting, because these are two goalies that, generally speaking, this year it's been underwhelming for them, at least on Igor's part. Recently, it's been better. I'm not as aware on Sorokin, but I think he's also been maybe a little bit better than he had been. So, yeah, that'll be fun. But, again, unfortunately, Blake Wheeler is hurt in an injury that I think might be certainly season-ending and sadly maybe career-ending. But Rangers are able to beat the Montreal Canadiens. They win by a score of 7-4.